Good morning, everybody. Sarah, Beautiful Disaster. You guys know the channel and you know me. So, as you can tell, I am going to be on a video call later today for work, which is why my alter work ego comes out. I normally would wear like bright red for like a superpower session, but anyway, it's Friday. I decided to go a little bit dark today. So, we talked a little bit a couple of weeks ago about how I needed to start talking about stuff, right? And it came up, one of the subjects came up today. Sorry, I put makeup on and my eyes just like water like crazy. And it's funny because I only like did the tips of my eyes. But anyway, so something came up today and I thought now would be a good time to kind of clear the air a little bit about some stuff. So it's really uncomfortable for me to talk about some of the things that have happened in my life. Mainly because I was told by other people that were in the situation that talking about it was going to make it worse. So I wasn't allowed to talk about it. And I shouldn't say that because it's not that I wasn't allowed to. It's like Alex, when he would get, and this is, you know, Alex was a beautiful person, but every once in a while he could be hurtful, I guess is the best way of putting it. He wasn't trying to be, but he did what he thought was best, and I kind of got lost in translation sometimes. Anyway, he convinced me. Now, for those of you who didn't know Alex, when he wanted to make a point, he pretty much would make a PowerPoint presentation and tell me exactly why he was correct and I was wrong, and why what he was doing was the best option and anything else I was thinking of doing wasn't. And so most often during the time when he was alive and we were together, he was, you know, he was the one who drove a lot of stuff. When it came to our children, however, and this is hard for me to talk about, so I'm sorry, because I don't... Alex didn't think us talking about it was going to be a good thing. I think for him it was traumatic enough that he didn't want to talk about it. So it was something he and I never really, like, we lost 2 children and he and I never really talked about it, ever. The only thing we talked about was him deciding that me talking about it wasn't a good idea. So he didn't want me telling our family and friends. He didn't want me, you know, talking about it with anybody else. It was a very private thing. And it hurts. You know, it's, so I get into my widow and widowers groups, and, you know, I was reading an article the other day. Widows without children are actually a very rare thing. Widow and widowers without children are a very rare thing. We're outliers. We went to one of the groups, it was a couple months ago, I think. And one of the ladies who was there innocently made the comment that it must be so much easier for me because I don't have children in the mix to deal with. And my mom was there for that particular meeting. And my mom very, very quickly spoke up and went, no, she is, you know, it's like, my mom's like nudging me, go ahead. It's like, no, I'm not, you know, it's like, no. And my mom just goes, she is a mom. It's just none of my children lived. So yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge those kinds of things. Trigger warning, I guess, on this particular video. So, our daughter, and Alex didn't think giving our children names was a good idea, so we never did. Our daughter was born shortly after we got married. I was born, quote unquote. I was, based on how big she was, they said I was probably around 12 to 14 weeks pregnant. I had no clue. I didn't know I was pregnant at all. We had just gotten married. I think we weren't even that. I think we were only a couple weeks out from when we got back from our wedding. I had no clue that I was pregnant. I think everybody around me did because I was craving spicy like crazy during our wedding. That goes down as one of the 2 of the most traumatic experiences of my life. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was in so much pain I couldn't even see straight. I'm like, you might as well have taken a red hot poker, jammed it up through the bottom of my torso and ripped everything back out. So I ran to the bathroom and I'm bleeding like crazy. And, you know, I when I sat up in bed, I'm covered in blood. And you know, I went into the bathroom and I felt something coming out. And I'm like, what the, you know, it never happened before. Um, and I remember I had to push to get it out too, which was weird. Her out. I shouldn't say, I'm so used to giving it, sorry, her. So, she fit in the palm of my hand. Like the entirety of her fit cupped into the palm of my hand. And I don't remember. I remember staring at her and it didn't register what the hell had just happened. And I remember finally I got my faculties back and I started screaming for Alex, and I can only imagine what that was like for him. He and I never talked about this, but he woke up, I'm screaming for him, he walks into that bathroom, and I know for a fact what it looked like because I was sitting on the floor in a pool of my own blood with our daughter in my hand. And, you know, he got me up and showered and we went to the doctor, you know, we went to the hospital, obviously. Like, oh, you know, it's just a miscarriage, you're okay, you know, it looks like you got everything out, we don't need to do a D&C. And it's like, you know, 12 hours prior to that, I had no idea that I even had anything going on. And then, of course, Alex made the decision that, one, we weren't going to name her. Two, we were not going to bury her or cremate her. I think the hospital went ahead and cremated her. And we weren't going to talk about it. So when we decided finally, because our method there for a while was, we'll just see what happens. It's like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, kind of a deal. So when I finally made the decision that we were going to try to have a kid, like full-blown try, like I was taking my temperature every morning, I was tracking my cycles, I was, you know, was tracking how often we were having sex, I was tracking, you know, whole 9 yards, like the whole planning bit, which for the record is not a sexy way to do this, but it was effective because I got pregnant with our son. And that one, same kind of thing. I got pregnant. I found out I was pregnant right before my birthday, my 29th. No, wait, I'm sorry. That was 2013. So it was shortly after my dad had passed away. Like, I found out I was pregnant right before my birthday, 2 months after my dad had died. And the baby was due right before Alex's 40th birthday, like literally like a week or two before, like right before our wedding anniversary, our second or third, it would have been. So everything was hunky-dory. Everything seemed like it was completely normal. Like, I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, you always have that thing in the back of your head, like, so is this going to happen again? Is this going to happen again? Scheduled our first OB appointment, which I'd never been to before. You know, I was getting sick every day. I was bitchy. Had all the classic symptoms. I was craving, I think spicy again came up a lot. Like, I wanted, like, Alex made habanero salsa and I was like drinking it every day. Just spicy. But I didn't have any like super weird cravings. But the morning sickness was intense, and we went down to Reno. We went down to Findlay in Nevada to visit Alex's best friend, and that's when we told them that I was pregnant. I was only like 3.5 weeks pregnant. But, you know, I was excited, and we didn't, you know, the first time around I didn't know, so I didn't get to tell anybody, and I should have known better. You know, they tell you to wait until the 12-week mark before you actually tell anybody. I made it to 14 weeks with him. That one's a little bit more difficult to explain. We went in for the OB appointment and there was nothing. They couldn't find a heartbeat or anything like that. I'd started bleeding a couple of days before, and I didn't know. Like, I still felt pregnant for a little bit. It wasn't a couple of days. I think it was like a week before that appointment. I had started bleeding, and then I didn't really realize that I stopped having symptoms. Like, my morning sickness was gone. Um, but they treated me like I was crazy. Um, so she does the she gets in there, she's doing the pap and pelvic, and they're asking us about our genetic background, and then the any types of problems that could arise and all of that, and then all of a sudden we go in for the ultrasound and just gone. And Alex, right before we had gotten to the doctor's appointment, had made a comment. He was just joking, and I know he didn't mean anything by it, but he goes, if we get there and you're not pregnant, I'm going to think you're crazy and we're getting a divorce. I'm like, whatever. The look on his face was devastating. I mean, I can only imagine what I looked like. And I don't know that it was a boy. I mean, I don't know, but you know how you just kind of know? It's like with our daughter, I knew. With our son, it was, I just kind of internally knew it was a boy, so it might not have been, but he might not have been, but and again, Alex decided we weren't going to do any names. We weren't going to do anything else. We were just going to kind of let it go. And it made sense to me at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's not something I talk about a lot because it feels wonky and weird to me to actually talk about it. But yeah, no, I am a mom. It's just that none of my children lived. They couldn't find anything. I think the most frustrating piece of it is when they can't figure out what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with me physically. There was nothing wrong with Alex physically that would prevent, or would make our kids unhealthy. They think that my exposure to black mold in Juneau in our apartment was what caused the miscarriages, because that's pretty normal for that, which I think is really hurtful for me, because that's an outside influence that I could have potentially avoided, I think. But at the same time, I think the thing that pisses me off most is that the black mold exposure is part of what killed Alex too. So if you can imagine, for me, it's like I lost two of my children, and I lost my husband to the same thing, essentially. And it's hard to talk about because like I don't like it's in here, and it's within my sphere of knowledge of myself, obviously, but it was never something that was allowed. I loved my husband. I really did. I really do. He could be a pain in the ass sometimes, though, and sometimes some of the decisions he made for us weren't always the most helpful. Flash forward, after we lost our son, we had decided, Alex started getting sick, and we decided to stop trying, which was a big loss for me. Still is. Being a mom was always something that, like, from the time I was little, you could ask anybody. I wanted to be a mom. And Alex, I think, so we stopped trying, and I hit that wonderful 30 mark, which in my family is a kind of a big deal when it comes to kids. Yeah. So you flash forward to the day before Alex died, and we finally had that conversation again. And he said, he made a comment about, I told him I felt like I had failed him in that regard, that I couldn't give him kids. Because I knew, when he and I got together, he didn't want kids. But then when we got together, when I finally came into the picture, he kind of relented, and he's like, okay, now I want kids with you. So, and he told me that I was, that I hadn't failed him, that, there was nothing either one of us could have done about it. And that, we were still young. I was only 30 and getting ready to turn 31. And Alex had just turned 42, and he goes, well, when I get better, we'll try again. And I remember I asked him if that didn't seem a little bit irresponsible. And he goes, what do you mean? Because I think at that time I still knew that, Alex always knew, and he warned me too, that he knew he wasn't going to make it a long time. So I knew that if we had a kid, if we tried again and we were successful, that I was going to wind up raising a kid, which wasn't a big, I was okay with that. But that was something I lost the day he died too. That was a glimmer of hope that I got at random. And I don't talk about that area of that loss very often. Because people always think, that you only lose your person in that moment, and that's not true. Sorry. You lose everything. You lose not only your person, but you lose a future with that person. You lose everything associated with them. And unfortunately for me, I think one of the cruelest things of that, one of the most hard things of that for me, was that on top of losing him, in that very moment, I then lost my my dream of being a mom. And I know it could still happen. I mean, physically and everything. I mean, it's which I'm open to. There's lots of different routes for this kind of stuff. It's just, that's a very difficult thing for me. Because everybody says it. It's like, oh, it must be so much easier for you not having children now that he's gone, with him being gone. And it's like, no, it's actually probably one of the hardest parts. Because, yeah, would it suck to have to explain to a child that their father is dead? Yeah, absolutely it would. I've seen it every single time I do one of my meetings. Would that have prevented me from doing it, though? No. And it's just one of those things, but that's just something that's kind of heavy on my mind today because of the conversation we were talking. And I wanted to share my story, and I wanted to get it out there that I have experienced these things. And yes, it sucks, and it's traumatic, and it's terrible, and it's awful, but it's something that needs to be talked about. So yeah, that's just gonna be my little video for today, and I apologize that it's a major trigger warning on this one, but yeah, it's just another piece of me. It's another piece of what swirls in my head, I guess. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. So have a good rest of your day. Happy Friday. Happy St. Patrick's Day coming up tomorrow. Shane and I are doing Truth or Drink tomorrow. So yeah, I apologize for the almost waterworks and all that other stuff. But anyway, have a good rest of your guys' day.